What's up, YouTube friends? Today I'm going to show you how to make this rustic burlap Valentine's Day garden flag. It's really simple and easy to make, and I'll show you how to do it next. So the things that you're going to need to make this Valentine's Day burlap garden flag are one piece of burlap that measures 13 inches by 18 inches. Now all I did to get those measurements was take a pre-existing flag that Mother already had. You're also going to need 2 shades of pink fabric. Now it could be any color that you want actually, but today I'm going to be using this magenta here, and this one measures 10 inches by 12 inches. And I'll also be using this lighter pink fabric, and this one measures 8 inches by 10 inches. Now I want to stiffen up these fabrics a little bit, so I'm also going to be using some Pellon here. I have one piece that measures 10 inches by 12 inches, and the other piece is 8 inches by 10 inches. Now I'll be using Pellon 809 Decor Bond, firm iron-on backing with extra crispness. Now I got this idea off of Pinterest, and the pen I saw, she just used felt. So if you don't want to do the fabric and the Pellon, go ahead and just use felt. You're also going to need some coordinating thread. Today I'll be using the magenta and this light pink. You'll need your sewing machine and also your iron and ironing board. And finally, if you're not that good at drawing, I'm going to go ahead and provide a PDF for the heart templates that I used, and it'll be down below in the description box. So let's get started. Alright guys, so if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I love a cardboard template. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and print off this PDF. So all I did was fold a piece of paper in half. I lined it up with the straight line here, and I traced out and cut out the big heart. Then I got another piece of paper, folded in half, lined it up on this fold line. I traced out the smaller heart and cut it out. Then I went ahead and I glued it with some tacky spray to some cardboard. Next, I'm going to take my 10 by 12 piece of magenta fabric here, my darker pink, and I'm going to lay it pretty side facing down. Now this solid really doesn't have a right or wrong way, but if you're using a print, you want that facing down. Next, I'm going to take my Pellon, and there's a shiny glue side and a rough side. I want the glue side facing down. And then I'm just going to iron this down per the manufacturer's instructions, which in this case are very vague. It just says place shiny adhesive side down, use iron at steam setting with a damp pressing cloth with a firm back and forth pressure. It doesn't tell me for how long. So I'm just going to take my pressing cloth here and lay it over my fabric. I have a spray bottle of water here. I'm just going to lightly dampen it. And with my iron on steam, I'm just going to iron. Alright guys, so I have my Pellon all ironed down here, and it took quite a while. Since this was so thick, it took a long time for it to heat the glue up. So now that I'm done with this piece, you want to go ahead and do the same thing to your second piece of fabric. Next, I'm going to take my template here. I have my fabric facing down, so my Pellon is facing up. I'm just going to take my template, and with a pencil, I'm going to trace it out. Just like that. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera here. And I'm going to do that to both of my fabric pieces. Now with some sharp scissors, I'm just going to cut right on the line. Alright guys, so now you just want to take your piece of burlap here. And when you buy your burlap, on the selvage edge, there'll be a thread that's holding this all together. I'm going to have that be my top. And as you can see, this isn't laying very flat. So all you want to do is grab your iron and iron your burlap. Now I'm just going to take this over to my sewing machine, and I'll be using a zigzag stitch. And with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, I'm going to start right here at the top. And like I said, where that thread is, I'm going to say that's the top. I'm going to back stitch, and I'm going to sew all the way around my flag here. Back stitching at the end also. So I'll meet you over at the sewing machine and show you how it's done. Alright, so I'm over here at my sewing machine. Today I'll be using a zigzag stitch. My length is a 1.5 and my width is a 3.5. So I'll be starting right here at the top of my flag, and I'll be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Don't forget to backstitch at the beginning and the end. So I'm coming up to my edge here. I'm going to stop with my needle down a 1/2 inch away. I'm going to raise my presser foot, spin, and continue to sew. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I sewed all the way around my flag with a zigzag stitch and a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and fray the sides and the bottom. You don't have to worry about doing the top. So I'm just going to take my fingernail here and just kind of scrape. And I'm going to do that until I get right up to the seam line. Alright guys, and you can see like some of these get stuck in the seam line. That's just fine. I'm just going to take my scissors here and I'm going to trim it right even with the edge. There's one side, and now I'm just going to do the bottom here. And finally the other side. So it should look like this. So now I'm going to go to the top here, and I'm going to fold that down 2 inches. That's going to be the pocket for our flag holder. Just like that, and go ahead and give it a press. Alright guys, so it should look like this. So now I'm just going to take this back over to my sewing machine, and with that same zigzag stitch, I'm going to back stitch 3 or 4 times here at the beginning, and I'm going to sew right on the previous seam line and back stitch 3 or 4 times at the end. Alright guys, now I'm just going to take my large heart here. I'm going to come down 2 inches from my top seam here. Roughly, it doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to line up this side of the heart with this seam line, leaving about a 1/4 inch. So that looks good to me. So now I'm just going to take some pins and pin it to the burlap. Alright, so you can see I went a little pin crazy here. Now the burlap's really going to want to move and shift, and I want to make sure that this heart stays right where it is. So now I'm just going to take this over to my sewing machine, and with that same zigzag stitch, I'm going to start right here at the point, and I'm going to zigzag stitch all the way around my heart. You want to backstitch at the beginning and the end. So when I zigzag here, I'm going to zig onto the fabric, and I'm just barely going to come off the edge of the heart here, all the way around. Alright guys, so I'm back over here at my sewing machine. I'm using the exact same length and width from the zigzag stitch previous. I'm going to backstitch at the beginning and the end, and you just want to go really slow, especially around the corners. So now I'm just going to do the exact same thing with my pink heart. I went ahead and I laid it so that this side is about a 1/4 inch away from that seam. And from point to point, there's probably about an inch difference. I went ahead and I pinned really well where it was fabric to burlap. But right here where it's fabric on fabric, this is pretty stable now. so you don't need as many pins. So now I'm just going to take this back over to my sewing machine with that same old zigzag stitch. But this time I'm going to trade out my thread for this lighter pink color, and I'm going to do the exact same thing all the way around. When I'm finished with that, I'll show you what it looks like outside. Alright guys, here's what it looks like outside, and I think it turned out great. Now you just don't have to do Valentine's Day. I think this would look great for any season. You could do a set of 4 of these for a gift idea and do Valentine's for spring, a sunflower for summer, a pumpkin for fall, and maybe a Christmas tree for winter. Now I hope you give this project a try. If you like this project and want to see more of my projects, go down below and hit the big red subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. If you have a question about this video or any of my other videos, or would just like to leave a suggestion for a future upcoming video, leave me a comment. Don't forget to head on over to Facebook for Scrappy's Patch and hit the friend button if you want to share pictures and crafting ideas. And as always, thanks for watching. Happy Valentine's Day, and I'll see you next time.